Hi, I'm Mike with House on the Mend, and in this video we're going to unbox, test, and review the Mrliance 40volt cordless pressure washer. If you find this video helpful, will you please give it a thumbs up? Alright, let's get started.
If you break it, he will fix it. If you buy it, he will build it. House on the Mend.
Perfect timing for a big old nasty thunderstorm to roll through Las Vegas, because it's just a little bit of rain, lots of wind, and it blows dust all over everything. So we're gonna have lots to wash off.
Now before we get going, I want to have full transparency. I was contacted by Mrliance and offered to do a product review of one of their 110 volt pressure washers. I have already previously done a review on a different company's product, so I wasn't that interested, but I looked through their catalog on Amazon and I saw this cordless one, and I offered to do this. They sent it out in a few days. Here it is. Let's see what's inside. Watch out if you open from the bottom, because the hose is right along where the cut line would be. It came out of the box with the bottom already split, so I'm going to pull everything out from this side. Well, there are a lot of parts. All right, not so bad once you unpack everything. It looked a little intimidating coming straight out of the box, but let's go over the components. So obviously this is the main portion of the pressure washer. Down here is where the batteries click into place. I'll show you that in a minute. Here's your trigger, and then this little black button you push down and it will be a lock for the trigger. This inlet port right here is for the hose, so that clicks on, and then you pull the blue cap back and it disengages. Something very cool about this hose, there is on the other end, it has a filter that is screwed in to, so when you put it in a bucket or in some other water source, you can, it will filter the water before it goes into the unit. But then also this section right here attaches to a garden hose. You can turn on the garden hose and apply up to 70 psi of pressure. Well, it's not really mentioned in the manual anywhere, but you have to take off the little filter, it unscrews, and then push past the little grommet and push hard, and you can just get like a slight turn from the garden hose on here. It's not easy. There, I think. No. I got it once. There we go. Wow, that is really hard. So look at this. If you take an 18mm socket and you back this plastic piece off of the end of that hose, you can push this back and you can see they've got 3 metal washers in here, and I bet if they would have only put 2 of them and left a little bit more room, there'd probably be more threads to get a garden hose on a little easier. Would have been really nice if this little screen that comes with this hose would attach there, and then you could put the garden hose over it, but it doesn't do that. And the standard garden hose filter screen won't work because you can't get to the threads that are already so hard to get to. So I'm going to have to take the garden hose off at the hose spigot, put this on, put the hose, the front of the hose on, then run all the way down to here and just be filtered right at the hose spigot and not here. So you've got 2 different function types for getting water into this unit, which is really cool. It says that the hose, the maximum draw height is almost 4 feet, 1.2 meters. Okay, now we get into the nozzles over here. So this is our main nozzle. It's got the 6 functions. When this is hooked up, you simply just click it into place. Then this is the button here to remove it. From here, you've got 0 degrees, so going straight out. You've got the shower, which sprays out foam for when you have the soap bottle attached. We're going to try that out. Then a 40-degree spread, a 20-degree spread, which is supposed to be angled in some way. I'm not sure if it's down or to the side, and then a regular 20-degree spread. So quite a bit to choose from there. The little soap dispenser, which I'm also going to try like Miracle Grow and other stuff and see how that works in the low pressure setting. Just screws on just like that, and then screws off when not in use. I'm going to be curious to see if you have to have the water bottle on, right? If you're not using the water bottle, if water is spraying out of here, and thus it's a must when you use it. I'll be interested to see that. This one here is just a little one jet that can be angled. So I can see this being good for, say, tight places when you want to get in and spray and you wouldn't be able to get this whole unit in there. You can just turn that and get into tight little spots. So we'll be trying that out. And then this one is simply an extension for the other two. And those, of course, just like the main unit, just click into place, blue button to release. Now this unit comes with two 2 amp hour batteries. I was very happy to see that they were 2 amp hour batteries, because when I originally looked on the Amazon listing, I saw this picture here where it said it was 700 milliamp hours. Well, that's 0.7 amp hours, and I was like, no way, the battery can't be a 0.7 amp hour. That would be terrible. No, what they were saying is the charger charges at a rate of 0.7 amp hours or 700 milliamp hours. So that's what that's talking about. Now this is 2 amp hour. Now I have to say, look at the size of this battery for a 2 amp hour. It's really oversized. Here is a Greenworks battery. You can see that's much slimmer. Black & Decker, much slimmer. DeWalt, way slimmer for 2 amp hour. In fact, this guy here is almost the same size as this 5 amp hour rigid battery, so a little oversized there, but nonetheless, let's take a look at it. So you have a power button, which I always love to see, the battery life indicator. You press that and you can see it's shipped with 2 bars. This tiny little hole you see right here is actually the charging port. So you will plug this unit into the wall, and then it's got a little stereo jack kind of thing that will plug in and will charge. The only indicator is on the battery itself. There is no LED on the plug to do any indication. It's strictly on the battery. As you can see here, it blinks while charging. And we're going to see how long it takes to charge and whether or not the battery heats up here in just a bit. This probably goes without saying, but the manual covers it, so I did want to say these batteries should not get wet when in use. So just because it's a pressure washer doesn't mean that it's watertight around the batteries. They should not get wet. Now if we look on the back of the unit, we'll see a button back here. That is for automatic and economy mode. So you can hear that tactile click to go back and forth. During normal use, you'll have the automatic mode on, and that is in normal use, according to the manual, 640 psi, and if you click to economy mode, it'll be 300 psi. It says the max pressure is 960 psi in automatic mode, which is what you see on the listing, and economy mode is 450 psi. Now I would imagine that you're going to get to that max pressure if you have a garden hose hooked up supplying you with 40 to 60 pounds of water pressure. and then this will amplify that to your max settings. And if it's drawing itself, I would guess that it's going to be on those lower settings. But the manual says that the automatic mode will, as you could guess, automatically switch from high to low pressure, which indicates that the battery power has become insufficient, and then they recommend to charge that battery. So if you feel it kick down to a lower pressure, that means the battery's getting low. All right, we're inside where it's nice and cool. The battery's cooled off. It's 78 degrees, so let's plug it in, start the timer, and see how long it takes to charge. All right, we got the indicator light going on, and we are, what, in about the 50% charge range, so I don't think this should take any longer than an hour, hour and a half. Hour and 19 minutes in, not bad. Let's get a temperature check. 85 degrees, so raised about 6 degrees, barely even warm to the touch. All right, let's charge the second battery, and then I am going to take these little labels here and label our batteries 1 and 2 so we can keep track of them when we're trying out the pressure washer. All right, so I purged all the hoses, primed them all the way up to this hose here, connect, turn the water on, and the water's just running out of this unit without it even being like running. It's just constantly running in all the settings. So there's no valve to stop the water when it's hooked up to the garden hose. And I don't care for that at all. We're gonna have to come up with like a shutoff valve, you know, like just a little turn, quarter turn or whatever, to turn the water on and off. I think I have one that kind of branches off that I'll go get for when we start using it with the hose. But anyway, let's take a look at our 6 settings. We got first, this is 0 degrees, and you can see it's a really tight little stream. And so it looks like it goes out about, what was that, 10, 15 feet or so when the pressure's on. When it's just coming through here, it looks like it actually goes a little tiny bit further. Let's try shower mode. Foam mode. I can feel the suction coming out of the little spot where you put the water bottle. All right, that was 40 degree. Let's try 20 degree with the funky angle, and that's down. So it's down a little bit, 20 degree spread. It seems to have pretty good power. Here's just a regular 20 degree spread straight ahead. I have noticed when you turn this nozzle with the extension tube on, it's a little longer reach, obviously. Pretty long arm, so it's not a big deal. But I feel the plastic on the extension tube kind of twisting a bit. Not bad, but it's noticeable compared to right here where you don't have the extension piece. But other than that, let's get to cleaning some stuff. Well, I pay a service to come every 6 weeks and wash our trash cans, and they do a great job, but let's see what we can do ourselves. Inside here, as you can see, it's looking a little nasty since their last visit. So I got this little T connector here. Let's turn the water back on so we're not just wasting it the entire time we're not washing. And I'm gonna, what are I on? Foam. Now let's go to one of the fan modes. 40%. Yeah. just to get it wet. And then I filled our little bottle with Fabuloso. That's gonna smell lavenderific inside here pretty soon. I can smell it coming out. Let's check foam mode. Oh yeah. Oh, you got to see this. This is cool. Watch this. Foam mode. Love it. All right. Let's turn our water off. Then I'm going to take the Fabuloso off so that when we rinse this guy, we won't be reapplying more soap. Got a scrub brush. Now the reason I set up this shot over here, you might be wondering, is because we're at an incline. So I can just take this guy, tip him this way, and all that's coming out. Now let's come back and rinse off the inside, then we'll stand it up and make the outside nice and clean. Go. See that spot over there on the right-hand side, right there? Yeah, that zero setting's no joke. Get back to fan mode, finish it off. All right. Turn off the water again. Much better. Yeah. Water back on. A little spot of bird poop. Let's see what zero does to that. All right, that's fun. Let's put a little more Fabuloso on there and see if we can't scrub it down. Foam mode. Look at that. That works really good. And just like that, two perfectly clean cans. Look at all the scratches from the arms of the garbage truck, man. But we also answered the question. You do not need this little bottle on if you're not using it. You can take it right off and rinse and then pop it right back on to make suds. It works great. I think I only had it filled up about half or 3/4 of the way, but we went through all of that Fabuloso on one can, so it's a data point. All right, how about this scenario? You're riding the UTV, or in this case, the kids are riding the UTV all day long. The last thing you want to do on the way home when you put it back on the trailer is stop at some car wash and wash it down when you're already hot and exhausted. Well, you bring a 5-gallon bucket of water with you. You put this little filter attachment back on. Let's drop that inside. And boom. How about this? You want to get those wheel wells? Let's switch over to this nozzle. Angle it up like that. Right? Put this guy in my pocket. Back here in that noisy disc brake CV joint area. Oh, that works great. Go around the whole thing, rinse it off, maybe wipe it down with a microfiber towel, and load it up on the trailer. Off you go. You can go straight home. That's pretty cool. So my kids love to come get me and tell me when our very sweet but very old dog has had a little accident on his way out the door here. Plop, 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 plop. So instead of dragging the hose all the way over, hooking that up to a regular pressure washer, hoping that you have a plug somewhere nearby as well, why not just drop the hose into a bucket and you're instantly cleaning up this guy. Let's get the zero going. Oh yeah. We're getting the water up the hose here, just a second, there it goes. All right, that was all the individuals. Now let's go over here, let's try 20%. Kind of just get it off into that flower bed over there. You know, I'm not noticing much of a difference between drawing the water out of a bucket and having the pressure of a garden hose. It's not that much difference at all. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's move on. Get a bunch of kids in the pool, somebody inevitably spills a soda or some juice. Instead of hooking up to the hose, how about this? Right? And then there's always that disgusting kickboard. Before you put that in the pool, hold on. All right. And if your kids try to get you with one of these, you can rule the pool. You get some, you get some, you get some. Take that, Mr. Shark. All right, I put you back in the trees to simulate we're in the mountains. All right, where are my bicycle or motocross pit crews out there? Right, solidarity. So, you got someone coming into the pit stop, they want their bike or their motorcycle worked on, but it looks like this because they're on some sort of mud runner. Well, just have a bucket with you in your pit crew stuff, put the bike up here on the stand, and before you know it, my son's little dusty bike is all spotless clean, and now you can start making whatever adjustments that you want on the bike. In between riders, it just sits right up there on top of the bucket. All right, let's check. Only down 1 bar so far. So if you're heading somewhere where you're not going to have water at your destination, I would suggest a setup like this, where you bring your water in a jug. You can fill that up ahead of time, then transport the water with you to your destination. This 5-gallon bucket, instead of being the sump for the water, holds easily every single piece of our pressure washer. All right, so in honor of Zach Nelson with Jerry Rig Everything, check this out. What? All right, so this is a Chapin Pro Series backpack sprayer. You normally hook it up and pump it full of air to pressurize it, and you can go around and spray bugs or whatever. But I took out the plunger system, just simply stuck this hose to the pressure washer inside of it with the little filter on. I wrapped up the remaining hose, strapped it to the handle with the little Velcro strap that comes with this sprayer, and I just brought the other end right up to the gun and truly mobile. I've been wanting to come out here and clean this guy ever since that thunderstorm hit, get it all clean of dirt and grime. But the hose is like way over there, you know? I love being mobile. So these photinias are acid-loving plants. I've got a little bit of Miracle-Gro for acid-loving plants here. And let's switch over to shower mode, and we'll give them a nice gentle bath. And there we go, just a couple of the things you can do when you're truly mobile. Now it goes without saying, this tank does not come with this unit. It's not even made by Mrliance. I actually found this one on OfferUp. It had never been used before, great deal. I'll put a link to it in the notes. There's also some lesser models below the Pro Series. I think basically anything like this could get the job done. It's been a long couple days of filming, but we got one more thing to clean up after that thunderstorm, and that's this poor Honda right here. Now this is just Mrliance Car Wash that I added with some water into our little reservoir here. I'm gonna take my little washing mitt here, just dunk it in the clean water, and then put a little bit of this soap on it. Yeah. Let's switch over to 40 degrees for the rinse. Oh yeah, good spread. Did you hear that? I think our battery just went down to the lower setting. Yep, down to 1 bar. All right. So, what you've seen so far was all with one battery. I'm gonna switch over to number 2 and we'll get back to it. All right, here's battery number 2. And back at it. Of course, no car wash is complete without drying it off, especially with the hard water here in Las Vegas. And that's a wrap. Well, after several days of use, I think it's time we conclude this video. I want to talk about what projects I think this sprayer is best suited for, and then also the pros and the cons. So the projects I think this unit is best suited for are small to mid-sized projects. Like when I was setting up this shot right here to conclude this video, I walked out and noticed there was a bunch of bird poop on the light behind me that's our entryway light to our front door. Well, it took me no time at all to fill a bucket with a little bit of water and set up this unit. I sprayed it down with a little bit of dish soap first and then sprayed down the light and the rest of the wall. It took no time because the setup on this guy is so fast. It's so much more convenient than a standard electric type pressure washer that you have to find a plug in one spot, run water to it from another spot, hope you got enough room, and then move the box around as you go. The portability of this guy is just great. Now, where it didn't do very well was in a large project. So yesterday, I happened to have a customer that wanted me to, in addition to a bunch of other things in their house, which I normally do, pressure wash their backyard. That's not usually a service I provide, but since I was doing this review video, I thought it would be great to do a comparison between this pressure washer and the Ryobi pressure washer I've previously reviewed. Now, there was a lot of grime on this patio. They had removed some of the furniture and some of the planter boxes, and admittedly it was dirtier than your average patio and pool area. But nonetheless, when it came time to get through that grime, I found that this guy had to be switched to the 0 degree setting, and then it was able to get through that grime. But as you see here, it was in like the tightness of like a pencil. Compared to when I switched over to the Ryobi, I was able to wash through in like the size of a paintbrush, and it went a whole lot faster. I really think I would have been there all day with this unit, and so I eventually switched over to that Ryobi, and as you can see here, it did a great job in much less time. So large projects, I think you would be pretty frustrated with this little unit. Pressure washing walls, it does really good, but something that big, it might slow you down more than really help you. Now let's talk about the pros and the cons. First of all, the pros. The battery life on this unit was excellent. I shot the entire first part of the video all the way up to the point where I was washing the car late at night on the second day, all with one battery on a single charge. The 6 modes that are on this wand here, I found to all be very useful. I thought at first, maybe that's going to be kind of gimmicky. No, each one of them has a great use. I think I demonstrated almost all of them throughout the video. Finally, I've already talked about this, but the fast setup is just so great. It really is just so quick. It doesn't hinder me from making a quick cleanup of something when I spot it, rather than going, maybe I'll get to that later because it's going to take me so long to set up the pressure washer. This guy, I'm happy to just run out, grab it, get a little bit of water going to it, and boom, take care of that problem. I just love the fast setup time. Now on to the cons, and I think other than the first 2, they're all pretty minor. First of all, the supplied hose is very difficult to connect to a garden hose. They should revamp that little spot where the filter goes to make it easier to hook up to a garden hose if that's something the unit is supposed to be able to do. Now, I love that little filter that came with it for putting into the bucket. That's fantastic, but hooking up to the garden hose was tough. And once you do hook it up to the garden hose, con number 2, as I demonstrated, the water just constantly comes out of it. And that is a design flaw in my opinion. Every pressure washer I've ever had, be it electric or gas, has always had a valve to shut off the water when not in use. So that needs to be changed in my opinion. Now, when it came time to initially charging the battery, it was great, about an hour and 20 minutes, but when it was fully depleted, it took just about 3 hours to charge. For a 2 amp hour battery, I think that's a bit too long. It should be right around 2 hours or less in my opinion. Next is a very minor complaint, but on the Amazon listing itself, if you see this slide here, all 3 pipes, as they call them, are mismarked for what they really do. The one with the 6 modes, the one that turns left or right, and then the extension rod are all mismarked. And then that 700 milliamp hour slide was very confusing. It made me think the battery was much smaller than it was. So I think those 2 should be corrected or just made more understandable. Finally, the battery platform. So I emailed Mrliance and they told me at this time, this is the only tool they sell that uses this battery. There are many competitors coming out nowadays with these types of cordless sprayers, and a lot of them have a battery platform that can be used with other tools. That is a consideration for people, and when I recommend tools to people, I recommend the quality of tool, which is not an issue here, but then also if you're going to invest in batteries, a lot of times you want to be able to use those batteries on other tools, and since that is a buying consideration for many people, I wanted to point that out. Now, if you found this video helpful, will you please give it a thumbs up? It really helps the YouTube algorithm to start suggesting it to more people. Also, please consider subscribing. I work really hard to put out good quality content, and there's more videos to come. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Mrliance for sending me this unit to review. I really enjoyed it. It is great, and as you can tell through the video, I had a lot of fun making it. Now, I'm going to leave a link to this unit with the 2 batteries in the notes below. Full disclosure, that is an Amazon affiliate link, so if you click on it and end up making a purchase, it won't cost you a thing, but I do get a small reward at the end of the month. It helps to justify the time and the effort it takes to make these videos. Until next time, thank you for watching.